there, I am the book lady, and I bring two books and we read them and talk about them, and I brought two very interesting books. I think you're going to enjoy these. We have The Funny Little Woman, and she indeed is funny, but she likes to giggle a lot, so I just give you a heads up. She likes to giggle. This is actually it's an old tale, and then Arlene Mosel put it in a book, see? But it's an old story, and you're going to enjoy it. Now, the next one is An Oak Tree Grows. Now, oak trees are, well, I love oak trees. However, in the fall, when they have big leaves, are dropping and the acorns, it can be a mess. I have an oak tree in my backyard, and I planted it when it was just a little tiny. It was only about that round, and now it's that round. Yeah, and we're going to learn about oak trees and about just life and history. History. That's things that happened back maybe before we were born. So why don't we start with The Oak Tree. It's by Brian Karras. And it's really based on something that happened, real. There was a town that this happened. Let's read and you'll know what I'm talking about. On a sunny late summer day, a young boy planted an acorn in the ground. Little acorn. I'll talk about that later too. Later that year, an oak tree sprouted up from the earth into the air and light. And there's a little picture of it. Each fall, it will shed its leaves, and each spring, new ones will grow. The boy grew up and moved away. Farmers now lived here. They cleared the hillsides where forests once stood. The wood was used for building and to burn in the fireplaces. Now see, this is in 1800. So where the little boy started, now look at this, was 1775. And he lived just in a little hut, but there's this little tree coming up. But then in 1800, they had cut down a lot of the trees for farmland. But the oak tree was left standing. Good. The oak tree had room to spread wide and grew upward and outward. Sometimes snow was very heavy and a branch would break off. As the oak tree grew, everyone and everything was on the move. Children grew, some stayed to work on farms, and others left to work in factories. Ships came and went, large engines rumbled along steel rails. That would be the railroad trains, right? This is around 1850. It's a long time ago. Birds perched in the oak tree to rest from long migrations. Some stayed and made new homes, and others flew on. More people arrived and built new houses and new buildings. So what's happening is the farms are sort of becoming a town or a village. Some years, little rain fell. Hills and fields were dry where trees had once stood and shaded the ground from the sun's rays. The oak tree's roots reached far underground for water as its leaves wilted. Farmers conserved what little they had for their thirsty livestock. Your livestock is your animals, until the rain fell again. Now we're at 1900. Electricity came through wires that were strung over hills and through valleys. It powered street lamps and homes. Boy, electricity really changed things, and it changed the way things looked. The land twinkled with lights as stars faded in the night sky. Because you can see the stars better if you are in a place that's very, very dark, and you can look up and really see the stars. But if there are lots of lights from buildings or street lights, it's a little more difficult to see the stars. The oak tree grew slowly and steadily, while all around it life sped by. People rode in cars to go to work and visit friends, to go shopping or just for a drive. Now we're in 1925. See, and they had cars. Not everybody had a car, but they were starting to come around. Soon, by 1950, the air was filled with jet contrails. You know what that is? Those are the planes that go up, and sometimes you see a white line, almost looks like a long cloud after them. And radio waves and sound waves of beeping cars, barking dogs, zooming motorboats, whistling trains, and music. See, these are things we're all used to now. But way back, we didn't have electricity. The only music you would hear would be music you played, if you played the piano or the guitar or the flute. And zooming motorboats, most people had canoes or rowboats, and they're quiet. The oak tree is 200 years old now, and now we're in 1975. It has shed its leaves and grown new ones every year for 200 years. Animals, birds, and insects have made homes in its folds and holes and branches. Wow, think of all the life that's gone on in that tree. The oak tree, with its strong roots, trunk, and limbs, has survived many storms over its lifetime. Now a fog rolls in and a big storm is on the way. This is in the year 2000. Big storm coming. The storm is powerful, and the oak tree is split in two. It does not survive the storm. And this happens. Lightning can hit a tree and split it. People come to look where the great oak tree once stood. The tree is cut into pieces to be used for furniture, firewood, and mulch. And I love this picture because there is where the oak tree stood. But it's fallen, and they're cutting it up. Oh, and that's going to be really good wood. A new day dawns. Once again, the ground is warm and welcoming as a new oak tree grows. Oh, look at that little oak tree right next to the big one. Then they give us some facts about oak trees, and I thought this was interesting. And let me tell you what I did. This is off my oak tree. And do you see these little caps? Well, those were where the acorns were. Yeah, they grow in clumps. But they drop on the ground. Well, guess who took the actual acorn? All the squirrels. Yeah. And these leaves have shriveled up, but they're really very large. That's from my oak tree. There are many types of oak trees. The white oak, the kind in this book, can live to be several hundred years old. And sure enough, the tree in our book here lived to be 200 years old. By counting the rings on the stump of a cut tree, you can tell how old it was. One ring for every year. See, let me show you. Do you see the rings in that picture? Well, there must be 200 rings there. Yeah. I think my tree probably has about 50 rings. Oak trees can produce acorns when they are as young as 10 years old. So if you have a really new little acorn, it's not going to make acorns yet. The hard-shelled acorn contains the seed from which a new tree grows. See, so the shell around, it's inside, that's the seed. Oak trees can grow to be 100 feet tall and wide. Imagine that, 100 feet wide. That's a big tree. They are very good shade trees. Imagine all those leaves. It's like a giant, giant, giant beach umbrella. Acorns are an important food source for animals and insects, and people too. Now see, I did not know that people can eat acorns. I thought only my squirrels ate the acorns. The wood from an oak tree is very strong and has many uses. Ships, they use oak, yes, to build big ships. Houses and furniture are often made from oak. You know, I have an oak chair and I was going to bring it, but it's just too big. Anyway, I think it's fun that we learned about an oak tree. Isn't that a nice book? Plus, we learned something. And we got to watch the tree go through the years, all through 200 years. All right, I hope you like that one. Now let's put our oak tree away and get out this funny little woman. And you're wondering, what are you going to do with this? Well, you'll see. Okay, the funny little woman. And the pictures, the illustrations in this they're very interesting. I think you'll enjoy them. Why don't we start? Long ago in old Japan, there lived a funny little woman who liked to laugh and who liked to make dumplings out of rice. Dumplings are like little balls of rice. Some people make dumplings with flour or cornmeal, and then you cook them. And then you eat them, and they're tasty. One morning, as she was patting and shaping the rice flour, one of the dumplings started to roll. It rolled across the table. It rolled to the edge of the table, and then it fell right on the earthen floor. So she had a dirt floor. "Stop!" cried the little woman. But the dumpling rolled and rolled until it rolled down a hole. Uh-oh. "Oh, ungrateful dumpling!" scolded the little woman as she knelt and reached for it. But just then, the earth gave way, and head over heels, she tumbled and tumbled until she found herself on a most unusual road. It was a hilly road lined with statues of the gods. "Oh, my dumpling, where is my dumpling?" she shouted as she ran. Soon she came to one of the statues. "Jesus-sama, did you see my dumpling?" "Yes, I saw your dumpling rolled by 3 minutes ago, but you had better not follow it because the wicked Oni live at the end of the road." Laughed the funny little woman. "I am not afraid of the Oni." And she kept running down the road crying, "My dumpling, my dumpling! Has anybody seen my dumpling?" "I have," said a very stern Jizo. "It rolled by me just 2 minutes ago. But don't run after it, for you will surely meet a wicked Oni.
Oh,
laughed the little woman.
I'm not afraid of the wicked Oni.
And she ran even faster, shouting,
My dumpling! My dumpling! Has anybody seen my dumpling?
Soon she came to another Jizo and asked, Oh, dear Jizo, have you seen my dumpling? Oh, it rolled by just 1 minute ago. But hurry and hide behind me, for here comes a wicked Oni. The wicked Oni stopped and bowed to Jizo.
Good day, Jizo-sama.
And very politely, Jizo said, Good day. Jizo-sama, cried the wicked Oni.
I smell the smell of humankind.
Oh, you only smell the breeze off the river.
No, I smell the...
The little woman could not keep from laughing. Then the wicked Oni put one large arm behind Jizo and pulled the little woman out. What are you going to do with the little woman? Asked Jizo. You won't hurt her, will you?
Hurt her? Oh, I should say not, said the wicked Oni. I'm going to take her home and have her cook for all of us.
Laughed the little woman as the wicked Oni took her down the road to a wide river. He put her into a boat and took her across the river to a strange house. Oh, look at that. And look at that wicked Oni. Ooh, isn't he weird looking? And there are little Onis in all the windows and doors. In the kitchen, he gave her a large wooden paddle. Now, this is how you must cook our rice, said the wicked Oni. First, put 1 grain of rice in this pot. Stir it with this magic paddle, and you will soon have a pot full.
Oh, that's easy.
And soon after the wicked Oni left, she tried it out. 1 grain of rice and then stir. And as she stirred, the 1 grain became 2, 2 became 4, then 8, 16, 32, 128, and 256, and the pot was full. Oh, wow.
What fun I shall have making rice dumplings.
The weeks and months passed as the little woman kept busy cooking rice for the wicked Oni. For Oni, you know, they eat more rice than most people. They're big eaters. One afternoon, she grew lonely for her little house and decided to return. She tucked the magic paddle in her belt, and then she went out the door. She looked to her left and to her right, and there were no Oni to be seen. She ran to the river, stopped, looked behind. Still, there were no Oni. Now quietly she got into the boat. Then away she went. Since the river was wide, she had only reached the middle when the Oni returned and found her missing. Uh-oh. Soon the Oni were all on the bank watching her. Now, because Oni do not swim, they thought of a plan to stop her. All of them got on their knees and drank the water from the river. When the little woman found the boat stuck in the mud, she was too frightened to laugh. So she jumped from the boat and began running. Her feet stuck in the mud and her hands stuck in the mud, and, well, she fell in the mud. Oh, she was a hot mess. Roared the Oni. The little woman made a funny sight. Of course, when they laughed, what happened? All the water fell from their mouths back into the river. So the little woman jumped in the boat and away she went. Ha ha! And this, I think, is just a beautiful picture. And it's, see, the little woman is walking back to her home. And it's just, I think it's very pretty, isn't it? After that, the little woman was very happy, for with her magic paddle, she could make more rice dumplings faster than ever. So she sold them and soon became the richest woman in all of Japan. And that's the end of the story. Did you enjoy that story? I like it. I'm going to show you the picture I like the most. Let's see here. It's when those Onis are sitting at their table. Look at them. And they're eating her rice dumplings. She makes the best rice dumplings. And they're just shoving them in their mouths like crazy because Onis eat more than regular people. And I just think, I just like that picture. I got both of these books. Where do you think I got these books? I got them at the library. Have you been to the library? I hope you have. And if you haven't, I want you to go. I learned about oak trees, and I guess humans can eat acorns. Who knew? This picture on the back shows the acorn in the ground. See? And the earth is warm and it's wet from the rain, and that acorn softens up till you get to the seed. And then what happens? From the seed grows the little tree. And that tree lived to be 200 years old until lightning hit it, and then it split. Have you ever seen a tree split after a lightning storm? I've seen it. It's pretty interesting. I mean, I guess they just hit that tree and it splits. So they had to cut off all the branches and then cut it off. And what's left, it's this giant stump. And they counted the rings in the stump and learned that that tree was 200 years old. That's an old tree. But what's beautiful is it died, but they could use the wood to build a house, make furniture, maybe make a baby crib or a bed. And they could build ships, boats. Oh, that tree was out there still living in its own different way. Yeah. We read a book that's similar to that by Shel Silverstein. And I think, I might bring that book back because that's a special, special book about a tree. And then, this crazy little woman, she is funny, and she tee all the time. But she got a little scared when the Onis drank all the water out of the river. But then the water all came out. Her boat came out of the mud, and she could get back to the other side. And because she had what? The magic paddle, she could make so much rice, so that meant she could make more dumplings, and she became the richest woman in Japan. It's all because she had the magic paddle, right? These are just wonderful stories, and that's what the library is full of, wonderful stories. You could learn about a specific person. Let's see. Let's say you're really interested in the Wright brothers. There were two. They were brothers. Actually, there were more in the family than those two, but those two brothers were really interested in how do things fly? How's that work? And they started out with sleds, and then they made kites, and they fixed bicycles. And you can go to the library and get a book that will teach you all about them. Yeah. You can go to the library and find a book that teaches you how to cook. Like maybe you want to make rice dumplings. The library will have a book that will tell you how to do that. And I know you think, well, I can go online and my mommy can find me how to do it. But there's something about opening the door and walking into the library, and it's just a beautiful place. It smells good. It smells like books. And you see other people. And if you want, you can just sit there at the library and read your books. I usually pull out about 10 books. And I sit there and I look at them, and I read about them, and I look at the illustrations. We know what those are. Those are the pictures. And I think, would my friends like this book? And you can do whatever you want in the library. You can just sit there and study if you're older, or write a letter. The library's a great place. I hope I will see you at the library the next time I'm there. Remember, you can also watch The Book Lady on YouTube. Tell your cousins. Tell your friends. Maybe you have friends who live far away. Well, they can watch The Book Lady too, any time of the day or night. This has been fun. From the funny little woman and the oak tree, I'm the Book Lady. Bye-bye.